Hello everyone and welcome back to Cute Crochet. My name is Sri and in today's video I am going to show you how to make this beautiful rainbow purse. I have added a strap to make it into a sling bag. You can also use this as a pencil case. Here I added a zipper for the closure. Instead of it you can also use buttons or even ties or velcros. For this purse I have used a special type of stitch called the popcorn stitch, which gives us this unique texture and also the beautiful 3D finish. I'd say this is an intermediate level project. Probably not ideal for the very first thing you make. This uses a special stitch and you also have to have some understanding about increasing in the round. Before we get started, let's take a look at this piece first. This is the main piece that forms the bag. It is clearly an oval and when we fold it in half, it forms the shape of the rainbow. This pattern can be divided into two parts, the constant part that forms the flat sides and the increased part that forms the curved edges. For the constant part, we make 8 popcorn stitches, and in between each of these popcorn stitches we have a double crochet, so 7 double crochets in total, and it is the same for all of the rounds. It continues in the same way on both sides. Then for the increased part, it starts right after the constant part ends, right after that 8th popcorn stitch. For these popcorn stitches, we don't make a double crochet in between, instead we chain 1. In that first round here, we have 2 stitches as you can see. Then in the second round, it increases to 5. In the third round, it again increases to 9. Then in the next round, it increases to 13. Then in the next round, it increases to 17. Then 21. And finally 25. This increased pattern is same on both the sides. When we fold this oval piece in half, it forms the beautiful shape of the rainbow. This pattern will get much clearer as we go through it step by step, so don't worry about it. Just keep the general idea of it in mind as we get started. I'm starting with the first color of the rainbow, which is violet. Start by making a slip knot. With my yarn, it is recommended to use a 4mm crochet hook. Start by making a chain of 16. To make a chain, simply yarn over and pull through the loop on your hook. Do this 15 more times for a total of 16 chains. After you have made 16 chains like this, we are going to start working single crochets into them. Skip that first chain and into the second chain we are going to make 1 single crochet. Insert your hook into the second chain and pull up a loop. You will have 2 loops on your hook like this. Yarn over and pull through 2. And that finishes 1 single crochet. Let's do that again. Into the next chain, insert your crochet hook and pull up a loop. Then yarn over and pull through 2. We are going to continue to make 1 single crochet in each of the chains all the way across like this until we reach the last chain. Here I have finished making 14 single crochets. Then into the next chain, make 4 single crochets into the same stitch. If that chain stretches out a bit too much, no need to worry. You can simply pull on this tail and it will cinch it right back up. Now we are going to start working back up the other side of the chain. So make 1 single crochet into the back loops of the next 13 chains. As I am going along, I am also working over this tail. After making 13 single crochets into that last stitch, make 3 single crochets into the same chain. Then slip stitch into that first single crochet to join. Now we have finished making our foundation round. Into it we are going to start making our popcorn stitches. For round 1 of our popcorn stitches, chain 3 to start. This will act as our first double crochet. Then into that same stitch we are going to make 4 more double crochets. To make a double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook into that same stitch and pull up a loop. You will have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through 2 remaining, yarn over and pull through 2 again, and that finishes 1 double crochet stitch. Make 3 more double crochets into that same stitch in the same way. Now that we have 5 double crochets, take that loop off your crochet hook and put it on your finger like so. Now insert your crochet hook into that first double crochet. In this case it is the first chain 3, so insert your crochet hook through the third chain of the first chain 3. Then take that loop back on your crochet hook like so and then pull it through that first stitch, and this forms your first popcorn stitch and it will puff up like this. Now into the next stitch we are going to make 1 double crochet. Then into the next stitch we are going to make 1 more popcorn stitch, so make 5 double crochets into it. Again take the loop of your crochet hook and put it on your finger. Then count 5 double crochets back and insert your crochet hook into that first double crochet. Again take the loop on your crochet hook and pull it through the first stitch, and this forms your next popcorn stitch. Now again in the next stitch make 1 double crochet. In the next stitch 1 popcorn stitch. Again double crochet in the next stitch. Now make popcorn double crochet 4 more times for a total of 7 popcorns and 7 double crochets. I am going to finish doing that and meet back up with you. Here I finished making my 7 popcorn stitches and 7 double crochets ending with a double crochet. Now in the next stitch make 1 popcorn stitch. Now chain 1, we are not going to make a double crochet in between. Then in the next stitch make 1 more popcorn stitch. Now we are going to repeat chain 1 and popcorn stitch 2 more times. This was the part where we had made 4 single crochets into one chain, and now into it we have made 4 popcorn stitches with 3 chains in between. Now we have one flat side and then our work curves like this with 4 popcorn stitches. Now we are going to go on to the other side. Make 1 double crochet into the next stitch. We are going to essentially repeat the same thing we just did. Then in the next stitch make 1 popcorn stitch. Continue to make double crochet popcorn 6 more times for a total of 8 popcorn stitches with 7 double crochets in between them. Here I have finished making 7 of the 8 popcorn stitches. Now I am going to make 1 double crochet in the next stitch and then 1 more popcorn stitch. Now you should have 2 more stitches remaining. Chain 1 popcorn, chain 1 popcorn. In the end, chain 1 and then we are going to slip stitch on top of that first popcorn stitch, ideally on top of the third chain of the first chain 3 we made, but it doesn't have to be exact, just put it in there. After this round we are going to change colors, so chain 1 and fasten off, leaving a little bit of tail for weaving in. This brings us to the end of round 1. You should have a nice symmetric oval piece like this. For round 2, bring in the next color of the rainbow, which is indigo. To join the color, first wrap it on your crochet hook like so, and then insert your crochet hook into the same stitch where we just fastened off. Then make a slip stitch and this will join your new color nicely. Bring that yarn tail to the back and we are going to work over both these tails simultaneously. Then into the same stitch we are going to make a popcorn stitch, chain 3 to start. This will act as your first double crochet. Then make 4 more double crochets into the same stitch. Then go in through the third chain of the first chain 3 to make the popcorn stitch. This is our beginning popcorn. Then double crochet in the next double crochet and we are also going to be working over these two tails. Then make one popcorn stitch on top of the next popcorn stitch. There should be a space right there that you can go through. Now continue to make double crochet popcorn 6 more times for a total of 8 popcorn stitches and 7 double crochets in between them. I'm going to finish that and meet back up with you. Here I finished making my 8 popcorn stitches with the 7 double crochets in between. Now I'm going to start my increase section. For that, chain 1 and then in the chain 1 space in between the 2 popcorn stitches, make 1 popcorn stitch, chain 1 popcorn stitch. So 2 popcorn stitches in that same chain 1 space with a chain 1 spacer in between. Making 2 popcorn stitches in the same space is going to be considered as an increase. This is our increase stitch. Again chain 1 and in the next chain 1 space make 1 popcorn stitch. Then chain 1 and in the next chain 1 space 1 popcorn stitch, chain 1 popcorn stitch, so 1 increase. Chain 1. This is the end of the increase part. Here we have 5 popcorn stitches. Now we are again going to start making the flat sides. For that, make 1 popcorn stitch into that first popcorn stitch. Then double crochet in the next double crochet and continue to make double crochet popcorn 7 times for a total of 8 popcorn stitches and 7 double crochets in between them. I am going to finish this and meet back up with you. Here I finished making the flat side and chain 1. Then in the next chain 1 space again increase. As always, increase is going to be 2 popcorn stitches with a chain 1 spacer in between. Chain 1 popcorn stitch in the next chain 1 space. chain 1, again increase in the next chain 1 space. Then chain 1 and slip stitch on top of that first popcorn stitch to join. We are going to change colors again, so chain 1 and fasten off. As you must have realized, the increased part on both the sides is the exact same so that our oval is symmetric. Since the pattern for both the increased parts is the exact same, I am only going to show you one side from now on. For round 3, bring in the next color of the rainbow, which is blue, and attach it in the same way into the last stitch where we just fastened off. Then working over those two tails, I am going to make one flat side. A flat side is 8 popcorn stitches with 7 double crochets in between them. We are going to make one popcorn stitch into one popcorn stitch and one double crochet into one double crochet. I am going to finish making this side and then I am going to meet back up with you. Here I have finished making the flat side. I am chaining 1. On this side I have 8 popcorn stitches and 7 double crochets in between them. Now we are going to start the increase portion. In that first chain 1 space in between the 2 popcorn stitches, we are going to make an increase, which is popcorn, chain 1, popcorn. Chain 1, into the next chain 1 space, 1 popcorn stitch. Again chain 1, into the next chain 1 space, 1 increase. Chain 1, into the next chain 1 space, 1 popcorn stitch. Chain 1, into the next chain 1 space, increase. chain 1, into the next chain 1 space 1 popcorn. So essentially we have increased alternately. Here we have 9 popcorn stitches in the increase section. Now we have finished making the increase part. We have 9 popcorn stitches. Now we are again going to start making the flat side. For that, popcorn stitch in the popcorn stitch and double crochet in the double crochet. And then again when you reach the increase part, we are going to again do the exact same thing like we did, that is increasing alternately. I am going to finish this and meet back up with you. Here I am at the end of round 3, chain 1, slip stitch on top of that first popcorn stitch. Now we are going to change colors, so chain 1 and fasten off, leaving a little bit of tail for weaving in. For round 4, bring in the next color of the rainbow, which is green, and attach it in the same way into that last stitch where we just fastened off. Now for the first flat side, we are going to make popcorn stitch in popcorn stitch and double crochet in the double crochet for the first 8 popcorn stitches. I am going to finish this and meet back up with you. Here I finished making the flat side. Now for the increase part, chain 1, into that first chain 1 space 1 popcorn stitch. Chain 1, into the next chain 1 space 1 popcorn stitch. Chain 1, in the next chain 1 space 1 increase. Now we are going to repeat the same thing 2 more times. 1 popcorn stitch into the next 2 chain 1 spaces and then 1 increase. Again 1 in the next 2 chain 1 spaces and again increase, and then 1 space remaining into that 1 popcorn stitch. And don't forget to make the chain 1 spaces in between. I am going to finish this and meet back up with you. Here I finished making the increase portion. In this portion you should have 13 popcorn stitches. Now I am going to finish the rest of the round and then I am going to meet back up with you. Here I am at the end of round 4, chain 1, slip stitch on top of that first popcorn stitch and then chain 1 and fasten off. For round 5, bring in the next color, which is yellow, and attach it in the same way as before. Then I am going to make the flat side and then I am going to meet back up with you. Here I finished making our flat side with 8 popcorn stitches. Now we are going to get started on our increase part. For that, chain 1 to start, and then we are going to make 1 popcorn stitch into the first 3 chain 1 spaces with chain 1 spaces in between obviously. chain 1, in the next chain 1 space 1 increase, now we are going to repeat this 2 more times. 1 popcorn stitch into the next 3 chain 1 spaces and then 1 increase. Again 1 in the next 3 chain 1 spaces and then increase. Then you should have 2 more spaces remaining. In them 1 popcorn stitch. I am going to finish this and meet back up with you. Here I finished making the increase part. In this increase part you should have 17 popcorn stitches. Now I am going to finish the rest of the round and then I am going to meet back up with you. Then I am going to explain to you the pattern that is occurring here. Now I am finishing up my 5th yellow round. You will see that we have a nice symmetric oval, and when we fold this shape in half we get this beautiful rainbow shape. Now we have 2 more colors remaining, orange and pink. Let's look at the pattern we are going to follow. In the increase part of the yellow round we had made 3 popcorns and then 1 increase. Similarly, in the green round we had made 2 popcorn stitches and then increase, 2 popcorn stitch, increase, and so on. So for the orange round we are going to make 1 popcorn stitch into the first 4 chain 1 spaces and then 1 increase, again 1 in the next 4 chain 1 spaces and then 1 increase. It might also be helpful to note that we are increasing in between the last increase, and of course the constant sides and all the rest is going to remain the exact same. I am going to finish the orange round and then I am going to meet back up with you. Here I finished making the orange round. As you can see, the increases fall right in between the last increase. In the increase part of the orange round you will have 21 popcorn stitches. Now attaching the pink yarn, for the increase part of the pink round, first 1 popcorn stitch into the first 5 chain 1 spaces and then increase in the next chain 1 space. Of course it falls in between the last increase, and then again repeat 5 popcorn stitches and then 1 increase, 5 popcorn stitches, 1 increase, and you should have 4 more spaces remaining, into it 4 more popcorn stitches. Here I finished making the pink round. In the increase part of the pink round you will have 25 popcorn stitches. For round 8, I am adding a round of white single crochets. Attach the yarn in the same way. Then chain 1, bring those yarn tails to the back, we are going to work over them. Then into that first popcorn stitch, make 1 single crochet. Insert your hook into the popcorn stitch and pull up a loop. You will have 2 loops on your hook like this. Yarn over and pull through 2, and that finishes 1 single crochet. In the next double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet on top of the next popcorn stitch, and continue repeating like this all the way across. Once you reach the increase part, 1 single crochet into the chain 1 space, then 1 single crochet on top of the popcorn stitch, again 1 single crochet in the chain 1 space, and continue repeating like this. I'm going to finish the entire round like this, and then I'm going to meet back up with you. Here at the end of the round, slip stitch into that first single crochet to join. Then chain 1 and fasten off. You can also go ahead and weave in that tail now. For that, I am going to use a smaller crochet hook. The main piece for the bag is done. Now it's time for the final assembly. Fold your oval piece in half. For this purse, I have a 9-inch long zipper and I also made a strap for it. The strap is simply a crochet I cord that I made by doubling up my yarn. I have a video on my channel already on how to make an I cord and I will leave it in the descriptions. This is around 50 inches long. First, I am centering my zipper to see how many stitches I need to leave on either side. Make sure that you are leaving the same number of stitches on both sides. Here I have to leave 13 stitches. Then I am going to sew up the first 13 stitches on both sides. Wrap your yarn on your crochet hook like this and then go through the first 2 stitches in that corner like so. Then make a slip stitch into it to join your yarn nicely. I am going to make slip stitches to join. Then go into the next stitch and the stitch directly opposite to it. Yarn over and pull through all the loops on your hook. Continue to make slip stitches like this for 13 stitches. Then chain 1 and fasten off, leaving a long enough tail. We are going to use this tail to sew the strap. And I've already done the same thing on the other side as well. It should form a nice pocket like this. Here I am double checking that the opening is indeed the right size for my zipper. Then place the strap on the inside edge like so and sew it using the yarn tail that we had left and a yarn needle. Sew it along both sides to make it extra sturdy. Then tie a knot at the end and weave in that yarn tail. Then repeat the same thing for the other side of the strap as well. Now that the strap has been attached, I am going to weave in the ends using a smaller crochet hook. Now comes the part which I had been dreading the most. This is my first ever time trying to install a zipper, and I couldn't find a tutorial of how to apply a zipper on a curved edge like this, so I had to figure it out myself as I went. It did work out in the end however, so please bear with me as I try to explain what I did. First, I unzipped the zipper, separating it in two parts. Then I lined up the end that was still connected to one end of the opening like so. Then I started sewing. I used a white thread that matched the white yarn I used for the border. First, I came in through the back so that the knot at the end of the thread was hidden at the back. Then I went back and forth following the line of the single crochets. I couldn't tell you exactly what kind of stitch I used here. I matched up the edge of the zipper with the curved edge of the bag as I went so that it curved with the curvature of the bag. And in the end, I am tying a knot to secure the stitching in place. Then I am going to repeat the same process for the other side of the zipper as well. And now with the zipper on, my bag is complete. The stitching of the zipper turned out way neater than I expected and it works great. This strap length of 50 inches is also perfect for a sling bag. I really had so much fun designing this bag and it is one of my favorites now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.